8:35. This is the Nielsen Show, EdmontonSportsTalk.com, streaming around the world, as well as the iHeart and TuneIn radio apps. And, of course, as always, on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, the chase to 10,000 subscribers continues. If you haven't already, smash that sub button. And give us a like this morning as well. Do it for Dusty. He's got the call tonight out in Winnipeg with suits alongside Bombers and Red Blacks as he was in Regina last night doing the work for the Canadian Football League on the road this summer. Lieutenant Eric, Joaquin Gage, YouTube Trev. We'll have some Beer of the Week coming up as well. We are looking to be joined by Next Level Brewing, I do believe, today. Funny thing is, we did have the beer dropped off, and in this office, a Joaquin Gage prowling around, and no beer is safe. But you got into the sampling a little early, which actually I don't mind, because now you kind of know what you're going in with here, not so cold and nude.
I've seen these cans before, and they're quite unique.
Yes.
With the artwork. So, and I've tried some sours before, and the raspberry sour just kind of caught my eye, and I didn't. In true Gage fashion, I jumped the gun on the beers so far, but we'll get to it.
Somebody told me, like, hey, one of the beers I wasn't surprised at all. I was like,
I messed up a lot. I messed up a lot. I said Bianca won. I'm sorry. I was up to
editorial correction here.
I did say she was through. That wasn't true. I was reading yesterday's news, which I thought was up to date.
Denis Shapovalov, he'll be hitting the court at around 10-9 this morning in his third-round match up against Ben Shelton of the state's 14th ranked. So keep an eye on that as well if you are of the tennis. But looks like we're ready to go here. We will be joined in now. It is a Sobeys and Safeway Liquor Beer of the Week. And be advised, $50 on the line to Sobeys and Safeway Liquor coming up at the end of this segment. So be by your phones to text in to win that. We'll be joined by Drew Ross here, co-owner of New Level Brewing down in Calgary. And as you mentioned, Gager, most of these breweries, the look of the cans, everything's a little familiar, but we always need a bit of a recap and a refresher. So joined by Drew Ross this morning. Drew, welcome to the show, man. Glad to have you. How you doing today?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Good. Co-owner of New Level Brewing. Is this part of a larger group, or you and a buddy? How did this thing kind of come together? Because all these brewers that we have on the show always have a unique story. Bathtubs here, and we were going to college and we figured out something on a late Saturday night. How did you come to being a co-owner of New Level Brewing, and is there some sort of a weird, wacky tale with you and a bunch of friends involved?
Yeah, I got a little bit of a story to go with.
Lay it on us.
Yeah, it was started by me and my younger brother, actually. So we were both done school, and we were down in the States for a death metal festival. And we were drinking a lot of beer while we were there, and it was like American craft beer. And this is kind of before you could really get a lot of craft beer in Canada. And we kind of fell in love with it. And then, a hobby kind of got out of control, started homebrewing all the time. We went to Olds College to learn how to brew. We worked at Brewster's for a little bit. And then we started our own craft brewery. And in homage to, where it all started with the metal, we have all black cans and sort of heavy metal, Dungeons and Dragons type imagery. So it all came together.
I was going to, that was one of the questions that you've already answered. I was going to say, was this with the death metal concerts, were you playing D&D, and do you have the player's handbook on hand? I used to I dabbled in the dungeons myself back in the day.
I've definitely got a handbook around here somewhere. Not
I love it.
right beside me, but yeah, there's one in my house somewhere.
Well, tell us about the artwork. I mean, it's so unique. I mean, when I actually just walked into a liquor store yesterday to see if they really pop, like they really stand out. So was it the Dungeons and Dragons and the death metal? Like that's, I mean, we'll probably get into each individual can, but does it have a special meaning, each beer, with what's the idea behind each logo?
We just like to have fun with it, to be honest with you. So I think with the big tall cans, it's just a good opportunity to have like a big illustration there. And it's kind of like music, like if you have a good album, that's great. But if it has a great album cover, that's even better. So with beer, I think it's the same thing. Like if it's a good beer, people will like it. But if it has a really cool label, they'll like it even more. So we normally come up with some kind of silly name. And then we have two Calgary artists who kind of take that name and run with it, and we give them pretty free reign to
Perfect.
go as hard as they want with demons and wizards and stuff like that.
Before we get too far down the path here, Drew, I just wanted to go back. What was this death metal fest, and what were some of the bands involved? I'm a huge metalhead from back in the day. Death metal specifically was the subgenre I really kind of took a liking to. So what was this festival, and any memorable groups that you pulled away from that? The birthing of this brewery, really, essentially.
Oh, yeah. So it's Baltimore Death Fest is what it's called, basically. They've been running it for a long time. We first went back in 2013, and a lot of like classic bands like Cryptopsy, Gorguts, Obituary, some more like underground stuff. There's always bands I haven't heard of, and I know a lot about the music, but there's always some like new things to check out. And I went this year again too, just to kind of get back to my roots and have fun.
I love it. Continuing it. I love it for metalheads out there. But you mentioned the cans and the art, and I've always maintained as well that in this game, I mean, I'm sure you guys, as we've had breweries and brewers on in the past, it's a pretty tight-knit community. You help each other out. You kind of... it takes a village in terms of that saying, but really with the provincial brewing community. But in terms of everyone having, a tall gray can... and trying to stick out and trying to be unique and trying to pop. I like the idea, and as you mentioned, sticking with the metal theme, a black can. It seems so simplistic on the surface, but again, it just stands out so much compared to everything else. Is that kind of where you go, not just with the imagery on the cans and the art? I mean, that's one thing, but also where you kind of took the thinking with brewing your beer and saying, yeah, anybody can make an IPA, everybody can make lagers and do this stuff, but do you really kind of think outside the box and use a metal theme as well with your brewing and the flavors that you brew?
Definitely, yeah. So we kind of have the slogan that new level means no limits or no rules. So when it comes to beer, nothing's really off the table. So, for example, you guys have like the blue raspberry sour. We're the only ones who make a blue raspberry beer, right? So that's not a traditional beer by any means, but we think if it tastes fun, we'll brew it.
For sure. Let's get going down the line here.
We'll
hey,
start
is that where you suggest? Where would you suggest? I mean, we like to have you are the keeper of these beers, Drew. Where would you suggest, and how do we hit this foursome here?
I would start with the Berserker Blonde first.
Okay. And if you could tell us, while Gage is preparing this, what is the deal here for Sobeys and Safeway Liquor, the beer of the week? Of course, we got the 4 here, but a little more on the deal in the feature this week.
Yeah, they're running everything on special. I believe you can save up to $3 for a 4-pack for the Green Demon, especially. But yeah, they have the Berserker Blonde, the Valkyrie Berry Ale, the Green Demon Blue Raspberry, and the Pinball Raspberry.
And for more information on the beers as well, newlevelbrewing.ca. It's a great interactive website. You got all the beers labeled and logoed there so people can find out about themselves on their leisure. But the Berserker Blonde.
Cheers.
In your eye, man.
Cheers.
Yeah, so this is the first beer we made. It's a more traditional beer. It's an ale. It's a little lighter than like something like an IPA or something like that, but definitely a little bit more flavor than something like a lager. We add a little bit of oats for sweetness, so it's a little bit different than the blondes that are out there. This is a really good beer just to pair with like a hamburger, wings, or anything like that.
Well, the temperatures will be heating up here over the weekend and the next week, so this thing goes down with anything you're eating, I think.
Usually I judge them by mowing the grass, and you could definitely crush one of those while mowing the grass. What about the brewery itself, Drew? I see that you're based out of Calgary. Is there hours of visitation? Is there any kind of tours, anything like that?
Yeah, we do tours by request, so if you come in and ask for a tour, we can hook you up with that. We're open right now Tuesday to Sunday, around 12 to 7 or 12 to 8 at night. Come by. We got like a little tasting room, all our beers to go. So yeah, we're around.
Are you open tomorrow? Because I have to drive to Calgary, so
might be paying a visit, eh?
Tomorrow, yeah. Come on by. We'll give you the good stuff.
You got nice merch as well up there on the website. Once again, New Level Brewing. .ca, shirts, hoodies, glassware as well. Where are we going next here, Drew, down the line?
With beer, we'll go to the Valkyrie Berry Ale.
Okay.
Valkyrie.
Is this the one you tried then?
No,
you used the
I'm
blueberry?
sorry, Drew. I already crushed the raspberry sour yesterday.
He couldn't help himself.
okay.
So
I couldn't help myself.
cheated on the test a bit.
Again, it caught my eye in the beer fridge, right? So
works.
that's what happens. Oh, good color on this too. So tell us a little
it's
bit
got
about
kind
this
of a
one.
nice sort of purplish hue from the blackberries that are in it. So this is a new beer for us. We came out with it in February. We wanted something light, kind of like the blonde, but maybe with a little bit more flavor. And then we make a lot of sour beers, so we deliberately made this one just to be a non-sour fruit beer. So this one, it's been growing on me a lot. I like it more and more.
I noticed that everything's about nothing below a 5.5. Is that kind of you're aiming for just a little bit higher alcohol content in most of your beers, or?
I think we kind of do that without thinking about it too much, actually. We've had talks about lowering our ABV, but I don't know. I seem to, if you're going to go swim and get wet, I want to give the people their money's worth.
The heavy metal tie-ins continue with your brewery, and I'm loving it. Cheers to you, Drew, and all the work you've been doing with the alcohol content.
Oh yeah, that's
Great pour as well.
Thank you. That's great.
It's another good lawn mowing beer for sure.
Yeah, no, just a subtle hints of berry in there.
A little more fun to it than
for
than the Berserker Blonde.
That's really good.
Let's keep going here, Drew. Down the line, what do we got next?
We'll do the Pinball Wizard, the raspberry sour.
Okay.
That's
the one I crushed.
That's the one. Okay, well, if you can...
I love the raspberries. That's why I grabbed it. Raspberry sours are kind of my go-to. I'm not completely on board with a lot of the sours, but that was quite tasty.
That one's our best seller. It's nice and tart, so in the hot weather it's perfect. It's got a really nice raspberry taste. It's a really beautiful pink.
I can tell you, Eric, it was really good.
Well, the way you described it, I can taste it now in the back, and the palates are just dancing. I got to ask, too, and maybe, Drew, you can answer this as well, as I'm looking at the cans here, and do you guys have a favorite character thus far? I think you can kind of, I don't know if you got them named or anything like that, but I can't take my eyes off the cans and the art. Do you have a particular one that's closer to home for you, Drew? Any type of personal designs that you've kind of put on the can? Or is this just, again, as you mentioned, you get local artists, you let them go loose, and they just kind of take this thing and go with it?
I like the Wizard the best, personally.
Yeah, it's got that third eye in the...
Yeah, there's just so many little details on that can that are fun, and wizards are cool.
Exactly.
Somebody asking Vera Montenegro in the YouTube Nasty Chat, favorite D&D class, Gage? Do you have a favorite or an answer? Drew, if you'd like to as well, chime in on that one.
I was always an elf. High sneaking ability and good with a bow. So that's
a good answer. Yeah, elf or thief, maybe a warrior mage. Something like that.
Something like that. This is a whole nother podcast. Drew.
It sounds like it here. Yeah, let's get down to Baltimore again. What are we finishing off with here, Drew?
This is our Green Demon Blue Raspberry Sour.
Green Demon Blue Raspberry Sour, and a demon on the can, as you can imagine. I'm loving the color scheme as well, the green off the black. But I see here in the descriptor, liquid candy.
Liquid candy, yeah. So this is definitely a sweeter beer. It's more sweet than sour. Tastes like blue raspberries, which is a candy. It's not unlike sort of like a melted Slurpee you might get from 7-Eleven. So it's definitely a treat. Definitely not one you want to crush 4 of, but it's become a pretty popular beer for us, especially in the hot weather.
And it has that nice green demon hue to it on the pour. So that's
green. And it also says this green demon haunts Alberta's brewing industry, which I really love. This is again the heavy metal coming to play here, where you just create this whole fun realm for yourself, and I'm loving it. Fun beers today, Drew.
Thank you.
6% alcohol. So
cheers to the demon.
Oh my God. That's my that's my
Go
favorite.
Again. Go again.
That's
the color you mentioned too.
Yeah, can you see this?
Trust us on this. The Green Demon Blue Raspberry Sour.
That's
New Level Brewing.
That could, like you said, probably not too many, but definitely get down to Sobeys and try that. Just for that beer alone, that's worth it. Very nice.
Holy heck!
Glad you like it.
Very unique, very unique. And as you mentioned, that's kind of what you're going for today as well.
Wow.
Quickly, Drew, again, where can people find this deal? What is the deal, and what can they expect when they're going to pick up a case of your brews here?
Head out to Sobeys liquor stores, Safeway liquor stores. They got the Blonde, the Valkyrie, the Green Demon, and the Pinball all on special this week.
Got it.
Green Demon especially, you can save $3 a 4-pack.
$3 a 4-pack. Love it. Drew, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us. Maybe I'll see you at a show either, down in Calgary sometime or up here in Edmonton, depending on the group. And give our best to Joaquin Gage tomorrow as you take him through the tour, as he'll be down Calgary way. But thanks so much again. People can check you out, newlevelbrewing.ca. And 7005 Fairmount Drive, Southeast Calgary. Is that still the current address for a lot of listeners and viewers down Calgary way as well that check you out physically, hey?
That's the correct address.
Love it, love it. Drew Ross this morning, we appreciate your time. Co-owner, New Level Brewing in Calgary. Have a great weekend, man.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Drew.